a lot of things happening
Yeah.
on the employment equity side, and also still a bit of unknown areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
But tell me, as far as I know, I mean, the Employment Equity Act has been around since, I think, just like 1996 or something like
1998.
that. 1998,
Yeah.
And then is this like we always talk about this new act coming in, a new Employment Equity Act. Is it a new act or is it an amendment?
It's an amendment.
Okay.
Yes. So it's an amendment to the 1998 Act. And the purpose or the reason why they started looking at the amendments in 2019, I think, they started saying they want to, because they didn't see traction. They didn't see any changes happening specifically in the management levels.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about 20 years after the EE Act, so okay, so now we're 26 years into Act, and the E Amendment Act will be effective from the 1st of January 2025.
Right.
So it brings in more onerous requirements for your larger companies.
Yeah.
So if you have 50 or more employees, that's it. Then you're a designated employer. And you
doesn't matter the turnover.
Turnovers
It's
out.
about the amount of employees.
It's about the amount of employees. And the relevant sections is contained in the third chapter, chapter 3 of the 1998 Act. Okay, so what happened was the Amendment Act changed certain sections, the definition of designated employer, out with a schedule for targets, making it easier for smaller companies not have commitment and that kind of thing. But now for your 50 plus companies, and it's difficult, you might have 60 people. You still have to comply as if you're very big. So your sector targets is one of the big issues where EE plan or a 2-year plan up to 5 years. Now inform your staff, tell people that management is knowledgeable about what they can and can't do, and that they policies and practices and everything in place in order to keep the business compliant. Because reaching your targets, although it flags, doesn't mean you're non-compliant and you're not going to get your certificate, etc. Because if you have the evidence, you're fine. Okay, so to be aware that it can create emotional stress for people thinking, what now? I've been in this job for 4 years. Must I look for a different place now? For employers, for the top management, not to think they lose relations or experience or whatever, because I now have to, within 5 years, do this whole transformation. Yeah. So it's a lot about creating awareness, sharing information. Probably the most important part in the earlier stages. To gain the knowledge, to gain the understanding, share the knowledge that everything is on track, and then to for everybody to understand. For instance, okay, so this is our EE plan, but this is the EE plan looks like this because it has to look like this. There's no discretion. We have to work to the sector targets. So that's one thing. And we are going to navigate this whole situation by, if someone does not leave their position, then they're fine there. Then they still have their job. They still have everything as usual. So that's the whole thing.
But is that now a justification or a defense if if I say, listen, let's say it's an argument, I've got this white lady that's my financial manager. She's highly experienced, highly skilled, almost her level. Let's say she's the only senior manager around. I clearly retrench age. So then, let's say for senior management, there's no movement in 5 years. Is that year on year a justification or a defense? I mean, what is your defense? That's a difficult thing for me to understand.
Look, in terms of your targets, you now have to navigate, because on a senior management level, if you only have one position, you probably, because your target might set African males as the top target. So your end goal might be no more white female, it might be an African male. But if that person, the white female, does not resign or for any other reason in 2030 is not part of the workforce any longer, then she should be there. There's no reason for you as an employer to make way in a way that's in contravention of your basic conditions of employment act. Not at all.
But I can help is that your succession planning in place.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the whole process to say, okay, but at this form, that's so
Absolutely.
we're gonna, let's say in a year, we're gonna appoint a qualified junior person or junior accountant, or we're gonna invite somebody to come and do chip or something, and the idea is to groom that, get the person into that position in 5 years.
Or there might already be someone on a junior level in the finance department, and you identify that person and say, what competencies does that person need in order to be in a position to supervise, etc.? Why you would do that, because you're for the audit, it's incorporated, and for the other consulting entities. So same for a lawyer. There might be very good reason why they do that.
From working closely together with consultants, I think their internal stance, because they advise a lot of companies on this, what to do, what not to do, and I think they're very stringent with that. They kind of tell companies, when it comes to splitting and things like that, and they just say, listen, yes, you can do it for a valid reason, but if there's at all, if it's 1% pointing towards splitting for VE, or I guess for employment equity circumvention, you're in big trouble. So rather stay away from that.
Yeah. Because, like I said, for employment equity reasons and for BE reasons as well, if you do the things right and you keep the evidence, and you have a proper process, considerations, then you should be fine. For the impact of this new Employment Equity Act, they predict that because there's now a compliance certificate that goes with all submissions, etc. So
almost like a tax clearance or a BE certificate.
So your designated employer and your non-designated employer, if they want to do business with the government, tenders, etc., they will need to submit this compliance certificate. And it's not just about meeting your sector targets or whatever. It's also about this, harassment and any negative findings by the CCMA or the Labour Court that is covered by the Employment Equity Act, where the employer was found to be in contravention by the CCMA, or if, for instance, you did not implement the harassment regulations appropriately, then you, as a non-designated employer, won't get your compliance certificate. So it's more than just sort of hiding, hovering 45, and now if we do another company and go on there, because you need to have proper policies, practices, procedures in terms of a wide variety of sections of the Employment Equity So you might just, sort of get it right. And
You might as well. I think if I understand you correctly, it's if you're a designated employer, 50, or even close to 50, I think I think you don't have a choice. You have to. And I'm speaking to the business owners here to say, listen, they must, fully jump on this and embrace it and say, right, this is the situation,
yeah,
and you have to also change the culture of the company, and it must come from the top.
yes,
I fully agree. In my experience, that the moment the top managers and the owners say, listen, I don't buy into this. I'm carrying on with my daily operations. It's up to the HR department or the HR manager, or in a lot of your smaller companies, the financial manager.
Oh my goodness, everything.
They must take care of that. It will never work. So it needs to come from the top, and everyone must buy in. Because you don't have a choice. It's either you're going to do it, you're going to go comply fully, and to be able to comply in paper, you have to comply in practice.
Absolutely.
So the paper will just be a reflection of what's actually going on in the business.
Exactly. That's what the whole evidence is about.
Yeah.
Because over a period of 5 years, if something is just on paper policy or on paper practice, you're going to get into trouble if it's not fully implemented and rolled out, etc. But in terms of this compliance certificate, so they thinking that it might also have an effect on the BE verification, your BE certificates, because your employment equity feeds into a very important part of your management control element. So currently you need to submit your e-reports and the acknowledgement email. You need to submit that to your BE verification analyst. When they do the verification, you lose out on certain points, BE points. And they are thinking that if you are not, that's what's going around in the market, that it could be that if you do not have a certificate due to non-compliance, then you're going to lose. And I think in the generic scorecards, like 19 points, you lose that. You lose out on that. So it could be disastrous.
But I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think they are also now very stringent when it comes to the workplace skills plan. Because I know in the past,
that's non-negotiable.
Years ago, when I did BE, they were a lot more relaxed about that. As long as you could show that when it comes to both the WSP and the employment equity reports, as long as you could show, that you compiled it and you just show that you sent the submission, you're fine. Was never a point of acceptance or something being issued from your partner. So I think that also changed. You must show that you're complying. So I mean, at the end of the day, nobody can, because I mean, skills development is a priority element of the BE scorecard. You simply cannot lose those points. Because you sit with a situation where in skills development you spend the money on skills development. But I mean, it's the same concept for me in employment equity. You spend a lot of, maybe a whole year or years of effort and money and recruitment and everything to ensure compliance. And then, if you miss that note, you lose those points and you might become a BE, non-compliant. Or lose that strategic level. Because, obviously, in a country now, the requirements from government and from your larger companies that you supply, they want higher and higher levels, or better and better levels. They want now a level 4 and a level 3 and a level 2. So you cannot afford to slip at all.
Absolutely.
Because then you're not going to fall from a level 2 to a level 8. Or
it's a lot too, yes. And that means, of course, like you said, even if it's not government contracts, your BE level affects the procurement section of your customers. So no, it's this whole ecosystem almost. And I mean,
Before we continue, here's just a quick look at how Training Portal empowers individuals and businesses through skills development.
At Training Portal, we are proud to be a leader in skills development consulting and a multi-accredited training academy, committed to solving your unique challenges through innovative and cost-effective solutions. Whether you are looking to enhance your team's skills, comply with industry regulations, or maximize your BEE scores, our extensive range of over 300 short courses and more than 30 fully accredited qualifications cover all your needs. From agriculture to information technology, our CETA and QCTO accredited qualifications are designed to provide comprehensive learning experiences. We tailor our training programs to fit your specific requirements, ensuring maximum benefits within your available resources. Our innovative learning platform allows for flexible, self-paced study, available both on-site at your premises and through our Training Portal campuses all across South Africa. With Training Portal, you achieve more than your training outcomes. You gain a partner who stands by you from the initial consultation through to the continuous management of your training program.
Now, let's get back to our conversation.
Earlier we spoke about the exporters of citrus and grapes and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's, we all know there's licensing, export licenses,
Yeah.
water rights licenses. So there's a lot of things that
those things definitely affected by your compliance certificate. If you apply for to be registered for something at some other license, then they want to see your BE certificate.
Yeah.
They'll want to see your compliance certificate as well. No different. But look, people are going to courts. People are, and we know these things take a long time. There's no time to waste so let's wait and see the outcomes. It's rather spend the time, do the plan, on board, make the changes, implement, and work hard at the put things in place. So I don't think there's option there.
Definitely not. I think from Training Portal's point of view, we definitely need to, put a lot more emphasis on developing courses for this.
Please do. If the clients can access, something that can be rolled out, something that can explain, to the employees, for instance, what is harassment about, then it's not someone saying it's the same message going out. It's not this line manager says, sarcasm is out. It's a holistic training program that goes out.
And it's evidence. The nice thing
Exactly.
is, we can develop content for your employees, maybe your junior managers or middle managers, but also, the employees need to be educated on what they need to do, the policies and how they must act and not act. And so it can be directed at different levels of the company. And the nice thing is, we can get the participants to go through the content, maybe write some quick assessments to ensure they know what they're talking about, they grasp the
Absolutely.
And the nice thing is everything is evidence. Some accountants say, listen, did you do training? Yes, and they can just access the system, download all the reports.
And what happens? What happens often is something like this is now very important. So let's say March, big rollout. Everyone's informed now. But in July, 2 new people. Then it's did that. But now one of those 2, the new ones, they weren't educated. They didn't. So if you have something like that, like a electronic tool, you make it part of your onboarding. Whoops, there you go. And again, maybe there's some changes or some court case guidance, whatever. You guys tweak your training. come 2026,
Yeah.
you united everyone with just, and keep everyone aware that it's very important. And what is and what isn't harassment, that's so important because you work with people and that can be very sensitive now. Or,
I mean, looking at, I spoke to a client recently and he said, he's looking for courses in diversity in the workplace. And, I presume in South Africa with our past and everything, some of us, we can never be too sensitive about, differences in people, cultures. I think it will be, almost more difficult to comply as South Africans, given our past than maybe other countries.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you just one last question, which I thought about. So the targets, we're looking at percentages in, let's say, top management, senior management, mid management.
Yes.
I presume what can become very complicated. And unfortunately, in our economic environment in South Africa, it's volatile. So some industries you might sit in a situation that within a specific year you would lose half your employees, maybe through retrenchments.
Yeah.
Or maybe you hit the jackpot and you get a government tender or something and you did very well. Now you appointed 50% more employees in your company, so that will throw out that potentially, unless you retrench that and hire people in line with that, the policies and stuff, you can sit here with one having a thick
There's so many situations that can have an impact. You have your 7 justifiable reasons, and what's very important is, for instance, if you had like this situation where you need to appoint very quickly the right people, you need to go back to you need to show, but I considered it. You can't say, I had this, did the jackpot and just throw everything out because I planned for that. You need to keep working with your plan. If new people come in on certain levels, you might have fixed term or fixed project contracts. That might be reasoning why, and you can show to the department, but these people are not part of a 5-year scenario. They'll go back to, how did you recruit them? Did you recruit them looking at your tool? You really need to have your act together and consider. So it's not just a quick explanation.
At the end of the day, I think companies will have to invest a lot more in the HR component of the company. Whether that's appointing a very professional, skilled HR manager that will have to take responsibility for this, or I guess getting a CSG involved from outside to consult help. Because you'll be surprised, because I think historically a lot of companies saw HR as it's just an expense for the company. So you will be shocked, again in my experience, the size of companies or the amount of companies that's big that doesn't even have an HR manager, that's or a proper HR manager that can help drive all of this.
Yeah. And like you say, the HR manager is there on the side doing things, and the other guys are not. And with this, definitely every manager needs to understand, that if they don't work together, come together and plan together and action together, then they won't get, the HR manager will probably say goodbye after month 2 or 3 or whatever. Okay, no, goodbye, I'm off. I can't strategize on my own for 5 years. I can't. They definitely, it's not an isolated situation. And also what happens is we see a lot of finance and HR. they come together and they try to, because a lot of times your BE is something that finance is involved with, and HR to a certain extent with your. So they come together with the employment equity and all those kind of things. Now, every single manager needs to understand that, behavioral changes, how they conduct themselves, how they take action, because if this harassment thing is rolled out, then the way an employee can come also and say, but, this manager is harassing me the way, he speaks to us, he conducts himself. And in the past, very much the sexual harassment issue. Now it's just, it can be normal day to day, how you speak, the words you use, like you say, diversity. So because that can make that, and you've got your plan, and you do your recruitment right, and then one turn in the CCMA throws you out, and you lose your certificate of 12 months. So everyone needs to come together.
There's another factor for me as well when it comes to that, ensuring good relationship with people in the business and not having harassing behavior. It's not just the risk of going to CCMA, but for me it's also the productivity of people.
Absolutely.
If people, if they put in the effort to ensure the managers are well trained, they monitor things, there's a proper system in place, your employees will be happier and will work harder. Because if there's constant harassment and
toxic work environment,
productivity goes down. So it's
or you might have, people, you report, people can't take it, terminations. Now you have to spend more time training people again on how to do things, etc. You have this, and you never get the feeling of having people that stays. There's a lot of good reasons, a lot of good things, but it's a bit of a mindset. It is a bit of a, where you come with the whole behaviour thing. You do have managers who think that, if you act in a certain way, you're going to get more from your employee. People have different opinions on this. So now it's going to be everything totally.
Yeah, for me, my takeaway from today is actually that it's clear that these amendments are here to stay, or it's here now, and there's no other alternative for the entire company to embrace this and to get stuck in, to go big and ensure it's full-on transformation, full-on compliance, and there's, it's either six or nix. You have to go full-on or leave it.
Absolutely, and everything starts with education. To just you guys are in the education sphere, so I think a lot of opportunities to assist all our clients with this, and to just make it not to make it a bump in the road, but just a pedal that needs work, hard work.
Kind of realign and also not even see it as a pedal.
Yes, because these things have been coming for a few years. So I'm quite sure the people who started, 2 years ago already, and made the changes and did the hard work already, they might be hit the ground running in January with these things. So currently we're waiting for the final news, and then we'll see what happens.
But the clients, the people that require assistance, they can contact you guys for assistance and maybe some guidance.
Absolutely. I'm thinking that there's a lot of people who, because it's December and people are slowing down, they're saying, I'm going to just park this. And then, also everyone that was a designated employer, including those sectors of those targets, turnover targets, they're busy now reporting because for the 2024 EE reporting, it's the old act that's still relevant. Everyone has to report, so everyone is just saying, let's just not think about that now. Let's get the reports in, and we'll get to it next year. So we might, start to get the calls and the requests for guidance, which by all means we can provide. But I said, people mustn't ask us, will you do our plan for us? That's something that we can't do. You can't do.
You can help facilitate.
Absolutely. You can help facilitate your team to put something properly in place.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
It was fun.
Thank you.
Must be again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.